Welcome everybody to another Flexera webinar. This week we have a great topic for you. We're going to talk about what's new in FlexNet Manager Suite for Enterprises version 2018 R1. Before I introduce the speaker, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items with everybody. First of all, this webinar is going to be recorded, and all attendees will get an email with a link so you can play back the recording as many times as you like. Second, if you have a question, use the chat box on your screen, and we'll get to it at the end. We'll have plenty of time for questions, but don't wait till the end to type your question in. Just go ahead and queue it up as we get going, so this way we'll be able to get you in order. So let me introduce today's speaker, Ed Rossi, our Vice President of Product Management, who's going to take you through the rest of the session. Ed, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Eric. And good morning and good day to everybody. I'm very pleased to have a great showing this morning as we kind of walk through the highlights of this release. We're going to talk through a couple of areas briefly. I'll touch base on why this release makes sense and matters. The bulk of the discussion today will be an overview of the actual release itself and some of the components within it. And then we'll touch base briefly on some updated news we've had from Gartner and their SAM Magic Quadrant, and then we'll do some Q&A. So as Eric said, feel free jump in with any questions. We will wait till the end just so that we can be efficient and respectful of everybody's time. But happy to answer any questions that you might have. So with that, let me kick it off. The focus of this particular release, for those of you who have seen what we call the 7 Bs, the areas of focus that we have for that we've been looking at with our clients, and that is the need to be business ready, to be everywhere, certainly to be faster. I should have probably highlighted that one as well. Be informed, be in control, be unified, and be connected. And if you have questions about that, would love to touch base with you offline, kind of walk through that in a little bit of a more detailed fashion. But for now, I'll say that the focus of this release is primarily around being everywhere, which is understanding where you are, the entire environment that you are managing your software. And as we know, that's historically on premises and then moved into virtual environments, and now very much moving into cloud in many instantiations. And then be unified. This is really kind of a broader view of how we look at data. So with that, let me kind of jump in here. So this release, what does this release help you do? Well, it's going to help you with the management of cloud-based software, and this is a journey. We're doing, as many of you know, we're doing shorter releases now, and so we're adding capability in an incremental fashion. We think that's something that really helps you in being able to take advantage of some of the capability that we're including, and do it in a way that's quicker, and for those that are on premise, allows you to sort of pick and choose where and when you want to do upgrades. Data platform integration, I'll be talking about the first phase of our data platform strategy, and this refers to the data platform capability that we have now within Flexera, and what we're doing to bring that and to incorporate that into some of the other capabilities, including FlexNet Manager Suite's software license optimization space. And then certainly I'll talk about a few additional features that we've added in this release. So a quick overview. In cloud capabilities, we've added a SaaS inventory framework, and I'll kind of walk through what that is. We have added out-of-the-box capability for Salesforce integration as part of that SaaS inventory framework. We have stepped forward in the journey on bring your own software license and managing software in the cloud. That is an area that we've heard from our clients as one that's really critical and something that we're very much focused on in 2018. And so we're rolling out certain elements of it in this release. And then under Customer Focus, we have some adapter and agent updates, support for Adobe DC, which I'll touch base on. And then we have our data platform integration, which I'll spend a little time on to give you a sense of how that works, and I'll talk performance improvements. So let's look at cloud capabilities. Excuse me. First thing that we have is the SaaS inventory framework. And what this is a capability that we have built to enable yourselves, partners, Flexera, ourselves, to build modules and integrations that will pull data in from your key SaaS applications. And so this is kind of an extensible framework that allows you to build these modules for the SaaS products that you are most focused on, bring that data into FlexNet Manager Suite and manage the usage, identify unused subscriptions, and certainly normalize email IDs with the corporate directory as part of that scope. So this is really focused on the framework itself and on our ability to provide this in kind of a modular way. And this really empowers and enables both yourselves as clients as well as our partners to really be able to build these modules easily and pull in this data. And we already obviously have the ability to manage subscription-based entitlements within FlexNet Manager Suite. And that's something that we've done already. This allows us to pull that data in, understand overall usage, look at optimizing your subscription relative to that usage, and focus on some spend management. So with that, we will be moving forward delivering some out-of-the-box integrations that support this framework. And the first one that we're doing that's part of FlexNet Manager Suite 2018 R1 is for Salesforce.com. And so this is included within this release, and it's the first of our integrations. And so we're going to have kind of a mix here for the larger vendors, for the larger SaaS products. We're going to be delivering out-of-the-box capabilities similar to what I'm describing here. Then there will be the ability for you or partners or stakeholders to be able to create modules that will allow you to pull in additional data beyond the SaaS products that we are currently supporting. So as I look at the Salesforce.com subscription capability, we are collecting data from the Salesforce.com accounts using APIs, and we're collecting all of the accounts, bringing that together, aggregating it. We're bringing in usage information for all the feature licenses. Obviously, we're identifying unused licenses. And as mentioned earlier, in terms of our core capability, we are normalizing the email IDs with the corporate directory. So this is really a full-featured capability to enable you to manage Salesforce.com subscriptions and to really focus on spend management by identifying gaps between the subscription level that you are currently at and the usage level that you're actually encountering. Switching gears slightly, but still staying in the cloud, let's talk about managed software deployed in the cloud, right? And then the other term for this is BYOSL, or bring your own software license. This is a fundamental area, and one of the, and I mentioned earlier, that this is really a key transition area our clients as we have understood. This is taking perpetual software and running it in cloud instances to take advantage of the benefits of running software in the cloud. Elimination of your data centers, the ability to right-size the environment, expand it, contract it as needed quickly and easily. So tremendous benefits of utilizing cloud infrastructure. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with that, so I won't get into that. This is about how do we manage the software that you have chosen to run in the cloud. So this is part of a journey. The first one piece we're doing here is enabling the assignment of devices to cloud providers so that you understand which sets of inventory that's coming in is from cloud providers. It's a critical element. In order to be able to manage the software in the cloud, most of the large vendors like IBM are creating rules that require you to understand and apply specifically for running their software in the cloud. So the first piece of information that you need is to understand which inventory records, which endpoints are actually running in the cloud, and specifically which cloud providers. So this is currently a manual process, and we're automating that process moving forward in a follow-on release. I mentioned the need to the fact that major vendors are bringing in and have introduced rules for managing the software. This release takes and consumes the IBM rules and allows us to, once we've collected the IBM data, which we do, to apply the rules that IBM has and enable us to determine a license position to first establish consumption, then compare it to the current entitlement, and to establish that bigger picture license position. So this is a capability that we've added in within this product, and this is pretty critical. This is something that we'll be continuing to expand into, with others like Microsoft and Oracle. We felt that IBM was, from an overall size and risk perspective, one of the ones that we wanted to really focus on up front. So you see some rules on the right-hand side, kind of for your reference. But the key here is that we've taken those rules. We are collecting. We're taking the inventory data that is collected. We are applying those rules, and we're determining consumption. And then, obviously, this is for the foreseeable future going to be a hybrid environment for you. And we've spoken to many clients where they have software running in the cloud, but they still have some software running on-premise. And it's really covered under the same entitlement, right? It's your perpetual software or whatever it is that you are, whatever your license model is. And you need to look at this in an aggregated fashion. So what we're doing is we're determining the consumption of running IBM software in the cloud. We're adding that to the consumption that we already calculate for running IBM software on premises, and we're adding that together and then comparing it to the license entitlement for IBM to determine an overall license position, because that's fundamentally what you need. IBM doesn't really care where you run the software at the end of the day. They're looking for where are you relative to your overall entitlement. So that's an area of focus for this release. We think this is significant, and we're going to be continuing to do just this. And we'll do it for IBM. We'll do it for more vendors. This is pretty critical as you move forward in your environments, in your journey to the cloud, whether it's directly to the cloud or through what is typically a more extended hybrid environment. Okay, so let me let me touch base on a few other items that are included in this release. First one is Adobe DC support. So in order to collect specific information about Adobe DC, we needed to do a few things, and this is really based on the way that Adobe is structured. Adobe is providing the specific serial numbers in ISO 770-2 tags that are included in the installation of their products. We are digging into that tag, we're pulling out the serial number, and then we're comparing it against a table that's provided by Adobe. And in doing that, we are identifying the specific model that has been installed in your environment. And so that is that's the goal, and this is something that is now native within the product. You do not need to update the agent in order to do this, but you do need the Flexera agent. This is something that is a capability that we have pulled through the agent. If you have other discovery capabilities that can specifically collect the serial number from ISO tags, we can handle that as well. But in order to do that this collection, you need you do need our agent. We don't have any any defined or validated understanding of other discovery sources that specifically collect this piece of information. Okay, so that was Adobe DC. So let's talk about some adapter and agent updates. So adapter updates, we're releasing support for Oracle Enterprise Manager 13.2. We're also releasing support for Citrix XenApp and Citrix XenDesktop 7.15. And this is typical. This is our ongoing focus on currency within the products. And you'll see us doing this on an ongoing basis. We have a list of supported inventory adapters that we continually look at and maintain currency. So this is kind of what we're doing for this particular release. On the agent side, in addition to what we referenced earlier on Adobe DC, we've also enabled addition detection for IBM Tivoli Storage Manager. So again, this is kind of one of these specific areas. There's some unique characteristics that are required in order to collect this information, and so we have added that into our agent. So in order to do that, that would require an agent update to take advantage of that capability. Okay, so let me switch over and let's talk about data platform integration. So as you know, our broader focus from a technology asset management perspective is to establish a data platform and utilize that data platform to collect the core data that you have, your inventory data, enrich that with key content data, and then make it available across the IT ecosystem within your environments. And that's very much what we're doing moving forward. A little more specifically, what we're doing here is we want to enable the data that sits within the data platform to be utilized by FlexNet Manager Suite as our software asset management capability. And that's exactly what we're doing. So in this time frame, we have created an integration, an inventory integration that pulls in normalized software inventory, normalized hardware inventory, and also virtual machine hierarchy data from data platform. And data platform, if you're not aware, that is our renaming of the BDNA product. And BDNA is the company that we acquired early fall of last year. And that includes their normalized function as well as their Technopedia repository. And so we're essentially utilizing data platform as another inventory source, just as we do with SCCM, Altiris, BigFix, and many others. So what we're seeing here is that we're pulling in the one difference that we have is that we're utilizing what we kind of call a crosswalk to link the normalized data that's already within the data platform to our method of normalization using our own ARL. And that is a kind of a slightly unique methodology. We're going to be over time bringing those two sets of data together. So the data platform has an application library. Obviously, FlexNet Manager Suite has an application library, the ARL. There's significant overlap between those two, but there's some unique characteristics on both sides. And we're going to be bringing those together, and FlexNet Manager Suite clients will be able to take advantage of the bigger application library repository. In the meantime, though, what we're doing is enabling clients that have data platform or BDNA set up to be able to pull that data, that normalized inventory data, into FlexNet Manager Suite for use with license management. So this is really the kind of the first step in our journey to bring these product sets together and to really realize our vision of a data platform. And we think this will be nothing but positive for FlexNet Manager Suite clients. Whether you choose to take advantage of this today or not, this is a step that down the road will provide you some capability. It'll provide you strong access to the content packs that Technopedia is so well known for, and enable you to utilize your data, your inventory data, with those content packs. So you see a little bit of journey here on the right-hand side. We've checked off the first box, and we've got a couple more to go. A quick note, this is delivered slightly separately. It is an adapter, so it's not something that has to be incorporated in the release. But it is at the same time frame. It's basically available as we speak. Okay, so that was the bulk of FlexNet Manager Suite 2018 R1. I'll touch base on some performance improvements that we're adding just post R1, and we'll be delivering this obviously in the cloud. It'll just be an update with on-premises. We'll be doing. I think it'll be either a fixed pack or a service pack, and we're going to be doing it fairly soon. Just worked out timing-wise to deliver the core release. As you probably know, and I've mentioned before, we are doing basically quarterly releases, and we're trying to stick to that time frame. So there are cases where when that release train rolls, there's one or two elements that may or may not be ready for the release train. And because of the relatively short durations of our releases, we're gonna just send the release out without those functions and then bring them in. In some cases, we wait until the next release. In some cases, where we think it makes sense, we're going to be delivering it in fixed packs or service packs. So for the performance improvements, in 2017 R3. We improved the all applications and all inventories grid, and we're now working on the all licenses grid performance. And that's the area of focus that we'll be doing here fairly shortly. And again, this is part of our ongoing journey. We're looking at this on a constant basis. We're looking at this both from a UI perspective, from a back-end perspective in terms of the data loading, as well as the speed of the reconciliation, the processing engine in the background. And so this is we have a strong focus in this overall area, and this is just one example of where you're continuing to see that. Okay, so with that, let me do a quick a quick aside, and then we'll take some questions. I did kind of want to mention that for those who are interested, the Gartner has what's called a SAM Magic Quadrant, and this is their first one, and they have just released it yesterday, and we're very pleased to be a leader in that Magic Quadrant for SAM tools. And we have certainly worked with Gartner in the past, and we think that what we do is that we as an organization and a company are very much leaders in this space and have been for a long time. I think Gartner reflects that, and so we are we're pleased with that news, and it's simply just continued validation that we're moving in the right direction, and both as a specific product set and as an overall organization. With that, I'll make the comment that we're focusing on software license optimization today, but Flexera is very much a leader beyond SAM. We have solutions that unite both software suppliers and software buyers like yourselves. We really focus on managing software anywhere and everywhere that it is installed or accessed. And that's something that we continue to move on and we've spoken about today. And then we have a partner ecosystem that really helps to drive new business value for yourselves. It is enabling our partners empower yourselves to tailor your SAM solution to some unique needs. And so we've got partners that kind of link into FlexNet Manager Suite and have additional complementary capabilities. And that's something that you can look at on our website if you're interested. And then finally, just a quick kind of wrap up here. Gartner also has what's called Peer Insights, and those are sort of reviews by active customers. And we're very pleased to kind of note some of the results of the Peer Insights. These are publicly available information by Gartner. And what you see here are some actual quotes that were taken from Gartner Peer Insights in reviews of FlexNet Manager Suite. And so this was, we were not only very pleased and privileged to have gotten some of these quotes, but also privileged to have gotten some very high scores. And that's we think consistent of the effort that we're doing. We consider that a baseline. We want to be working, and we are working very hard to both ensure your ongoing satisfaction and to look at where you need to be going in the future and what we can do to help you in that space. So with that, I'll wrap up the specific slides. And Eric?
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. Very informative. And thank you to all our very valued customers for submitting reviews on the Gartner Peer Insights. We really appreciate you taking the time and doing that and putting all your trust in us. So before we get to questions, and boy, we have a lot of them, I just want to just put something on the screen. We're going to keep this here as we go through the questions. Just to, if you guys want more information about Flexera, just keep on top on what we're doing and some news. Be sure to check out our blog, and you can subscribe to the blog right on the site too, and we'll bring you, important information, tips and tricks. And by the way, we archive all our blogs. They're live. One of our most popular blogs is several years old about Microsoft SQL licensing. So we just bring you a ton of information from our in-house subject matter experts. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Sam Insights, and of course there's the URL for our website. So let's get started with some questions, and we're going to go through these, and I'm just going to call them out and ask Ed to answer them as best as we can. First question, what if you have the IBM Blade, and I guess that's FlexNet Manager for IBM, Will the feature set, I guess we're referring to the cloud capability there, bring your own software license, will that be part of the Blade? Ed?
Yeah, great question. I should have been more clear on that. The management of IBM software within FlexNet Manager Suite and the ability to do PVU subcapacity and other unique capabilities of IBM server software is something that we deliver in FlexNet Manager for IBM, and that's AKA the Blade. So in order to utilize the capability that we're describing for managing software in the cloud, you actually do need that Blade, that product. And that's because that's where the product itself allows us to manage the core entitlements as well. To reverse that, to answer your question, absolutely. If you have that product, then the capability that we're adding for managing software is absolutely included.
Okay, great. Next question. Regarding Adobe DC support, does it matter about the agent? Is it the light client compared to the full agent?
I will have to get back with you on that one. I want to give a correct answer. I think it's the full agent, but it could be either. So let me take that, and I will be sure to get you a response.
Here's a question about data platform. Does the data platform integration pull enough data to give an accurate and defendable license position?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The level of data, the type of data that's currently managed within the data platform is essentially akin to something that you might see in SCCM. And I mean that in terms of the level, not necessarily the completeness. The data platform itself is not a discovery tool. And so it pulls in data from other discovery tools, aggregates, federates, and normalizes, and it does a very good job in doing that. But it's not pulling in data that is more complex. So, for example, IBM PVU subcapacity or Oracle, Oracle database management packs and options. It is not storing that level of complexity. And so essentially for server software, you would not want to pull in data from a data platform in order to manage that software. This is something that, if you had more desktop-oriented software within data platform, it's something that you would want to, it would make sense for you to do. But it's not this minute. And I keep saying that. And I say that on a purpose because, we're very much moving to enabling a broader capability of consumption data within data platform.
Okay, and continue on the same topic. The question is the BDNA data platform integration with this release. Is that just for the normalized product, or does that include BDNA Discover as well?
So BDNA Discover is a discovery tool that BDNA had. That's not something that we're going to be actively moving forward with. But basically, if you have BDNA Discover, it pulls data into Normalize, and then from there we would pull it into FlexNet Manager Suite. So it would certainly include the data. BDNA Discovery is just a discovery source for the data platform, one of many. So whatever's in the data platform is what we would pull.
Okay, great. Slightly different topic. Is FlexNet Manager for cloud infrastructure part of this release? Is it part of FlexNet Manager Suite or some other product?
Sure. So it is not part of this release. This release is I've sort of been focusing on FlexNet Manager Suite. Cloud infrastructure is a separate complementary product that allows you to manage the actual cloud infrastructure itself. So we think of that as kind of hardware asset management in the cloud. And so it's really managing the instances. If you look at AWS, which is the one that we primarily support right now, we're talking about managing the number and size of the instances that you have within AWS and allowing you to aggregate all of the accounts because we found clients to have many accounts, in some cases dozens and dozens of separate accounts and so bring all of that together and look at your view from a spend management perspective. But it doesn't have the capability to look inside the instances to see what software is running in there. So it's really, as I say, it's more of a kind of a hardware asset management in the cloud, is managing the infrastructure itself of AWS, not the software that's running inside of it.
Okay, back to data platform. There are several questions about that, so I think I'll just try to roll them all up into one question. Is data platform available as a separately purchased item, similar to what some people call a Pearl, or is there an additional cost, or is it included? So how does current customers get data platform, I think is the question.
Yeah, sure. Sure. So the data platform is absolutely a separate product. We absolutely acknowledge that there's some overlap between the capabilities, some of the capabilities within data platform, and some of the capabilities within FlexNet Manager Suite. So we're going to be providing customers kind of a limited use, limited capability version of data platform, and by customers I mean FlexNet Manager Suite customers. For the specific use, for the specific goal of supporting FlexNet Manager Suite, right? So data platform, the value that it has is very much, one, taking that initial set of normalized inventory data and then enriching it with content packs which are purchased separately, and then also making that data available across the enterprise to not only to software license optimization, but also to ITSM, IT service management, IT financial management, enterprise architecture, and many other areas. So if that is of interest, that is something that would be a separate purchase. We are going to provide, as I say, a limited use, limited function version of the data platform should you as FlexNet Manager Suite clients wish to utilize it. But it does have, by design, it has limited capabilities and can be only used to feed data into FlexNet Manager Suite. Just to be practical for a minute, the installation, for you to install data platform today only to feed data into FlexNet Manager Suite may be of limited value to you if you have already deployed and configured and installed FlexNet Manager Suite. That's because you have created adapters that pull in discovery data. You have deployed our agents, and you're pulling in data from that source as well. And then obviously you're bringing all that together and it's being normalized within FlexNet Manager Suite. Adding in the limited use version of data platform would have you kind of pushing some of that discovery data, removing the link from FlexNet Manager Suite and moving it in. Let's say you're doing SCCM. You would bring the data from SCCM into the data platform, and then from data platform into FlexNet Manager Suite. And the real benefit of doing that is to create a normalized inventory repository in data platform that can be enriched by the content packs and then shared across the overall IT environment. So if you think that's a value, that's something that might make sense for you, then I absolutely would encourage you to do it. If you're only focused on software asset management and you have already rolled out FlexNet Manager Suite, then more than happy to talk to you about that. But there is kind of a limited value prop in utilizing data platform in that specific context.
Okay, great.
And I will say that, yeah, and just to add to that, again, we're kind of on a journey to incorporate data platform into our broader suite, and we're going to be, and over time that will change. But I'm kind of describing where we are this minute, and I want to be as kind of clear as I can with you on understanding, the benefits and sort of the costs in terms of effort to utilize data platform. And we very much think the benefits are associated with building a normalized repository with enriched data to share across the overall IT environment.
Okay, great. There's similar question regarding several questions about SaaS support, beginning with Salesforce, and I'll just roll these up together in a similar way. What about support for other SaaS providers or list of other SaaS subscriptions that we support?
Right. Yeah. So the only one that we have out of the box today is Salesforce.com. We are considering other SaaS products. And we will be, and we are, looking at options. We would welcome input from you on areas of prioritization, because that's something that we're considering right now. And so there's some larger SaaS vendors that we are and can consider. But the actual rollout of that is something that we're still working on.
Here's just a small question, and I understand the reason it's being asked. What does the IBM Blade mean? We have the IBM Pearl, but haven't heard about the Blade.
Everybody's got a different nickname for that product. So the proper term is FlexNet Manager for IBM, and that's the name of the product. There are many nicknames for it, and so Pearl is one of the nicknames for IBM for FlexNet Manager Suite, as is Blade. And in my perfect world, we would get rid of some of the nicknames, but I understand why they're there. Pearl is product use rights. The IBM product is actually more than just product use rights. It includes some specialized discovery capability that allows us to collect PVU subcap consumption data, among other things. So those are all referring to the same products, just different nicknames.
Right, and I asked that question because for those of us inside Flexera, we also use different shortcuts and abbreviations for the product as well. And so, but we understand what it is. But thank you for the question. And I think we got time for just one or two more. Here's a question about someone who has FlexNet Manager Suite 2017 R1. Are we eligible for the performance updates?
If you're asking if we have retrofit the performance update back to R1, we have not. You're eligible in that you could certainly upgrade to the current version to take advantage of those. But unfortunately, no, we haven't rolled it back. We haven't retrofit it.
This is a slightly different question. I'm not sure how to answer this, but where will we find the details of virtual machine hierarchy?
Where will we find the details of virtual machine hierarchy?
I suppose that's in our support for collecting inventory within a virtual machine, perhaps, or?
Oh, I see. I think this was in reference to, I think I listed that under the data platform. And I'll have to get back to you on that one. We'll look. I'm not quite sure if that means the details within FlexNet Manager Suite or the details of what is being pulled in. But we can give you a quick summary from end to end on that.
Okay, and I think we got time for one more. Let me see which one. I'm just looking for something that we have not covered yet, because a lot of them are similar. About Adobe Adobe DC support, does that include all of the Creative Cloud applications or just the Document Cloud?
Does Adobe DC support include Creative Cloud as well as? I think it is. Or just the Document Cloud. I believe it is. This particular one is just the Document Cloud. It is. This one had a specific mechanism for the way that we collected it. So it's focused on that particular capability.
Okay, and we're coming up to the end of our allotted time, so I thank you for everyone for the questions. We really appreciate your time today and for taking the time to answer these questions. Hopefully we've been thorough about that. Before we wrap, I just want to tell you folks about our next webinar. It's next week. This one's going to be really good. We're going to go deeper into data. It's entitled Data Fuel for the Enterprise. Walter Darrow, our speaker, is an expert in SAM licensing. He's got years and years of experience working for major technology firms. He's going to talk about how data is important to your organization. So be sure to register for this starting next Wednesday, or on the other dates and times that you can see, regardless of where you are around the world. So Data Fuel for the Enterprise. Be sure to check in and attend that next week. And so with that, I want to thank everyone for your time today. We really appreciate it. We value you as a customer. We really appreciate the trust and support you've provided to us to help you solve your complex licensing needs. And on behalf of Ed and everyone at Flexera, we want to thank you for your time today, and we'll talk to you next week.